All right, this week we are starting lesson 9, which involves how to solve multi-step problems. So sometimes you're going to read a problem and have to do more than one step in order to solve it. So our very first problem in this lesson is right here on page 84. Tia mowed Miss Vega's lawn 4 days last month. Each day she worked 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. Write an equation to find how many hours Tia worked mowing Miss Vega's lawn. As you can see, they have drawn a beautiful chart here for us to use. Let's talk about how they got to this point, okay? So it says Miss Vega had her lawn mowed 4 days. So right here we can see day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Each day she worked 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon. So here's our morning column and our afternoon column. She worked 2 hours every morning and 1 hour every afternoon. So now that we know how we got this, let's go ahead and answer some questions. Write an expression to show how many hours Tia worked each day. Expression is an equation without the equal sign. Okay, so I am going to write a number with an operation and another number. Write an expression to show how many hours she worked each day. Okay, so we're going to look at each day for part A. On day 1, she worked 2 hours and 1 hour. So what operation would we use to combine those two? If she worked 2 and 1, we're going to make it 1 plus. So she worked 2 hours in the morning plus she worked 1 hour in the afternoon. What will you need to do to the expression above to find out how many hours Tia worked all 4 days? So how many days did she do this? She did it for 4 days. So what would you need to do to solve that? Well, each time she does this, if I do that 4 times, I just said it, did you guys hear it? 4 times means we're going to multiply by 4 because she did it 4 times. Write an expression for the number of hours she worked one day and put parentheses around it. Then show this amount multiplied by 4. So we're going to take our expression for the number she worked in one day, and it tells us to put parentheses around it. Parentheses are those curved lines. Then show this amount multiplied by 4. So here we're starting to get a bigger expression. We have our 2 plus 1 in parentheses and times 4. Choose a letter to represent the total hours that Tia worked. So choose a letter that represents hours. I'm going to pick H because I'm going to do H represents the total hours. So H. You could pick P. I could have picked P for Pasco. I could pick any letter in the alphabet, but I chose H because it makes sense to me, because it represents the hours. Write an equation to show how you would find the total number of hours Tia worked. So the total number of hours she worked is going to be 2 plus 1 in parentheses times 4 equals H. So did you guys notice how we went from an expression without the equal sign to an equation? The equation has the equal sign. All right, on page 85, we're going to find out some more about parentheses. Parentheses help you remember what part of the equation to solve first. You can highlight that, you can underline that, you can write that down in your diary. That's important, okay? We briefly touched on this before we left school when we were still in school. I told you guys to expect to learn more about parentheses. So they help you remember what part of an equation to solve first. Think about the problem on the previous page. You first need to find out how many hours Tia worked each day, which is 2 plus 1. Then you multiply the sum by 4 to find the total number of hours for all 4 days. The final equation looks like this. Oh, good, that's what we got. A bar model can help you see each part of the equation. So on day 1, 2, 1, day 2, 2, 1, day 3, 2, 1, day 4, 2, 1. All of that are the number of hours that Tia worked. If Tia was paid $10 for each hour she worked, how could you find out how much she earned in all? You would need to multiply the total number of hours by the amount she was paid each hour. Let E be the total amount she earned. I wonder why they picked E. E is the total amount she earned. So E, the amount she earned, is equal to the hours she worked times the $10 that she gets paid every hour. Equations can be helpful in real-world situations. For example, an equation can help you find the cost of something you want to do, like go to a movie with 2 friends and an adult. So there's a real-life example of how you would create an equation. For this reflect question, number 1, describe a real-world situation that you could represent with an equation. Now, what I did for you guys is I took this question and I put it on Schoology as your assessment grade for today for math. So you will notice in the math folder, there's a puzzle piece that says reflect question. That is where you're going to answer this question, okay? So think of real world situations. Don't use the example that the book already gave us. So the example said you find the cost of something you want to do, like go to a movie with 2 friends and an adult. So I don't want you to use movies as your example, but describe something else that you could create an equation with. Something like this question. Okay, think of the different ideas, something that happens in real life, everyday life, that you could represent an equation with. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Bye.